Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Thank you for joining me again for another live Q&A session here on my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Angela. I am a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and my channel is dedicated to those of you just getting started in this wonderful world of voiceover and audiobook narration. And through my channel, I share with you tips, tricks, techniques, things that I do every day in my own voiceover business. And then we get together in these weekly chats to talk about a topic or two. If you're not new here, then you know every week we have a new poll, and that is generally the topic of the day. And this week the poll is, what worries you the most about voiceover in 2025? And we got a lot of votes. Votes are still coming in. We got about 31 so far. And I'm actually surprised by your responses. I thought that AI taking voice jobs would have been the biggest concern, but I'm proud of you for not thinking that. But it is still a concern. So I'm not devaluing your concern. Here I go, overthinking again. Okay, so let's just get to the polls. 27% of you said AI taking voice jobs. 9% of you said too many new narrators. 9% of you said staying updated with tech. And then 55% of you said finding consistent work. Okay, so let's tackle finding consistent work, since that seems to be the major concern. I'm having an internal battle right now. First and foremost, we have to remember that this is a business. And with any business, finding consistent work is always going to be the number one goal, concern, hence marketing, right? I don't know of any business that has consistent work. It is going to fluctuate, as will any business on the planet. There will be good months, there will be bad months. Having consistent work is also going to depend on your availability, your schedule, your ability to take on X amount of work. And everybody's definition of consistent or sufficient is going to differ. But of course, the best thing that you can do to be sure that you're getting enough work or consistent, whatever that definition is for you, is to market yourself. And in marketing yourself, I mean being visible. There are many different platforms in which you can, upload a bio, have a profile, upload a bio, have your demos available. You are visible on all of these platforms. And when I say all, there's over 100 of them, of different voiceover platforms. And that includes the freelance marketplaces that we talk about quite often, which is Fiverr, Upwork, Guru, Freelancer. There's a ton of them. And then we have voiceover specific platforms like Voice123, Badalgo. I mean, there's over 100 of different platforms that you can be visible on to find work, to solicit work, right? Some of them you can be a little bit proactive on and actually bid on jobs like Upwork. Some of the pay-to-plays you can too, but you have to be a paying member in order to audition, to actively audition. Otherwise, you're just kind of sitting there waiting for someone to find you, right? Either way, you're visible. I still think, and we talk about this a lot, is making yourself visible on social media, because that is where most everybody is in some way, shape, or form, in either finding information, looking for a little distraction, entertainment. If you think about some of these social media platforms, like I know Facebook was huge back in the day for finding information, but now people are going to Instagram, TikTok, all of these social media platforms to find information, and at the same time get a little distraction. Maybe you're on a coffee break at work and you just want a little distraction for 10 seconds. They're going to social media. So therefore, that means that you as a business owner need to go where the eyes are, and that is social media. Making social media content, giving a little bit of a behind-the-scenes peek at what a voice actor does or an audiobook narrator does. Making it known that you are available, you are there, you are present, you are reachable, right? Being present on social media. And also, you reaching out to clients yourself. And that is touching on one of the poll questions that I posted in the posts section of my channel here, was finding direct clients. Reaching out to them yourself, right? There's no real easy or magic button. You just have to do a little bit of research, go onto Google and search out some of these companies that you want to work with and reach out to them. It's really not as difficult as we make it in our heads. Reaching out to authors that don't already have an audiobook version of their novel or whatever it is that you're looking at. Reach out to them. You can, it's allowed. And also, going back to social media, making connections with people on social media, other narrators, other voice actors, and then in turn, finding where the authors hide, being part of those connections too. Making yourself a resource of information for author groups. Right? Making yourself visible in any way, shape, or form that you can imagine, any way, shape, or form that is available or easy for you, any way that you can think of. But being visible as much as possible is going to help you to start to build that book of business. Because once you start reaching out to these clients directly, then you also have the added benefit of referrals, repeat business, right? So that all starts with making yourself visible in as many ways as possible. And then eventually, it will become as consistent as you want it to be. But it's still going to fluctuate, right? So I don't even like using the word consistent for, business income, because it never really is. It could be X amount this month and X amount this month. It's going to fluctuate. Pumping the brakes on that tangent. Okay. The next topic about AI taking voice jobs. As I've said before, it's starting to, there's a line forming between AI voices and real voice actor voices. It's just like if you think about the example I gave the last time we talked about this, about, photography or video making. There's a kind of a fast and dirty, it's not quite right, but it'll suffice for what I'm doing for AI work. And then there is high quality, emotion, accents, connection to the script. And that is the high value voice actor. So there's two different categories for AI and voice acting. And that line is becoming more and more solidified every day. And I think the last time we met up here, was it last week or the week before, where we talked about YouTube starting to demonetize channels that were just completely AI. Although it doesn't directly affect voiceover, it's a step in the right direction. So I think that further solidifies that line between AI and having no human, emotion or connection at all, and genuine voice acting. It's definitely a step in the right direction. As far as having too many new narrators, we have to remember that a lot of narrators, and I'm sure you've probably reached this point yourself if you're watching this, but there was probably a point where you said, geez, this is a lot more work than I thought. I don't know if I can sustain this, or I don't know if, I watched this social media person say that I can make $400 an hour in my PJs just by using my iPhone. That's not really reality. I don't want to do this. But they've already created a couple, profiles because they were gung-ho about it, maybe recorded a couple demos and then discovered it was too much work, but never removed themselves from the pool of narrators, or removed their profile, or never did anything, to remove themselves from the pool. So when you go onto these platforms to find work and you see that there are, 2 billion narrators, don't let that number scare you. A good chunk of those people are not active, have changed their mind. They don't want to do it anymore. It's too much work. They don't, that person on social media, that clickbait video they watched was a liar. They discovered that it was not accurate, that their heart's not really in it. They don't want to do it anymore. So don't let that number scare you. Because if this is something that you truly want to do, then the AI thing shouldn't bother you. The number of new narrators shouldn't bother you. None of these things should bother you. If this is something that you truly want to do, and this is more for you than just making $1 or $2, then none of this stuff is going to matter. Because you are going to find a way to get the education, to train yourself, to learn how to find those emotional depths and harness them to be the best voice actor that you can be, to be the best audiobook narrator that you can be, and that you want to do this. So you want to reach out and find new business. You want to reach out to new authors. And, hey, I see that you don't have an audiobook version of, this book. Make sure you give them the title. You've done your research on it. I think this would be a really good fit for me. And here's a sample of my voice. Let me know what you think. It doesn't have to be as difficult as you're making it out to be, right? Just reach out to people. But if this is something you truly want to do, none of these factors are going to stop you or dissuade you or change your mind. This is what it really comes down to. The tech thing is a whole different ball of wax, because tech is constantly changing. Tech is constantly changing and updating and getting better and improving. But I tell you, from my standpoint, as far as tech goes, I'm one of those people that if it ain't broke, I don't need to upgrade my interface or my microphone every 6 months to keep on top of new tech. What I have works. This microphone I've had for 6, 7 years now, and it still works just fine. I have no need to update my tech. This interface I've had for maybe 2 years now, but I still have my old stuff just in case as a backup, which I recommend, by the way, having backup stuff. I'm trying to pump the brakes on that tangent too. Let's get over to the comments, because I'm seeing some questions pop up in the chat. I think our time here would be better served instead of me yapping at you, is answering some of these questions, because I know you guys have specific questions. So let's get your questions answered. Who was first in? Paul was first in. Hey, Paul. Good morning. Good day, Angela et al. My biggest concern, I wouldn't go as strong as worry, is downward pressure on rates and maintaining price. Guess that includes options 1 and 2 and maybe 4. Yes, I can see your concern, especially if you're working with a client that possibly is on the newer side and is maybe used to working with AI, the cheaper version of voices, and then the sticker shock, basically, of the cost of working with a real human is going to be maybe a tough pill to swallow. I can tell you that in the last few years, I don't even know the last time that I've changed my prices down. I don't think I ever have. But I stick to my guns. I stick to my prices. If I have someone that I think I could potentially have a long-term relationship with, then I will be flexible. Think like a third party. So like the client is not who you're talking to. You're talking to the video producer who is working with the client, and then you as a voice artist are part of that project. And perhaps their client doesn't have the budget that the previous one did, and so they're asking you to do maybe the same sort of word count as the last one, but maybe at a lower price. They're already coming back to you for a second time, so therefore that is the start of a beautiful relationship. So I might consider, adjusting my rates a little bit to accommodate the budget that they have for this client, right? As long as it's not, an 80% discount or something like that. If it's reasonable and they are reasonable, then, I'll consider it. But that is your prerogative as a business owner. If you want to be flexible and you want to cultivate a long-term relationship with clients, which I think you should do, or at least be open to it, then do it. There's nothing wrong with that. You have ultimate control over your prices. But I understand your point. I'm starting to see more and more people reach out to me that are just shocked by how much I charge when my rates are pretty much industry standard, right? And that is where you can come in as the professional even and say, this is how much voice actors charge. This is, even if your rates are slightly below industry standard, you could say that. This is how much this type of project costs. This is my rate. I'm willing to be flexible for you. What budget are you trying to get at? What is your number? And then they'll give you their number. And if it's way off, then you might have to part ways. But if it's close, then consider, hey, because this is our first time working together, I'm willing to be flexible on this first project, but, make sure that you keep me in mind for future projects. Just make it clear that you want to build a long-term relationship with this person and that you're being flexible with them. But I would not discount your rates, over and over and over, unless it's like a bulk, think like YouTube channel narration. I know a lot of people who do a lot of these at a discounted rate because that just makes sense, right? If it's weekly, monthly work for you and it's a good chunk of your income, then, that's fine too. But ultimately, it's your decision. to charge what you feel you're worth, right? At the stage that you're at. Caesar's here. Hi, Caesar. Oh, hi, Angela. Once again, I find I'm not worried about or struggling with anything in particular, so I chose staying updated with tech. Because I like staying updated with tech, and it's expensive. I still have quite a few bits to add to my studio. I don't think that's ever going to end for you. That's like the never-ending quest for you, Caesar. Bass trap, studio monitors, a keyboard, and more analog rack mount units like a parametric equalizer and more preamp and compressor options. I imagine over time I will want a new computer with newer bits inside it, like a faster processor or a more powerful graphics card for a faster voiceover. Gaming. Why not, right? That said, hello everyone. I'm impatiently waiting on a new audio interface, which should arrive in the next 3 to 4 weeks. It should provide more juice for all my analog equipment. So that is the thing with tech. Once you want something and you have something, then you find other things that you need to either enhance or supplement the new thing that you bought. Right? I mean, it's a never-ending thing. It's a never-ending need. Feed it, Caesar. Kat says, good morning from Washington. I voted to keep up with tech because I'm learning my DAW and deciding what extras, isotope and positron, etc. I might need. Yeah, that I recall that stage in my journey where there's so much out there, and there's even so much out there that you don't even know about yet. And you don't really know what you need and what you don't need. For those of you watching that are just getting started perhaps, and you're not quite sure what effects you need for your DAW, your DAW meaning your digital audio workstation, your recording software, Reaper, Adobe Audition, Audacity. Your best bet, as I always say, is one of two things. Join groups like mine, my Platinum group, where you have a pool of other members that have also varying experience levels, but there's going to be people in there that can probably give you some direction, or even like Facebook groups. Well, they will allow you to post demos, right? So you could post a demo and then ask for feedback and say, hey guys, what does this sound like? What effects do you think I need? Do I need noise reduction? Do I need a de-esser? Do I need some compression? Do I need, can anybody recommend a great mouth declicker? Join groups. You can ask these questions, and then you will find out what you need, or maybe what you don't need, or maybe what you're doing too much of, right? If you can find a group, again, like mine, like my Platinum group, where we do audition reviews, which is what we're going to do actually this Thursday, then you'll have a group of people listen to your audition and say, hey, maybe you should consider a declicker, maybe you should consider a de-esser, or maybe you're using a little bit too much compression, and they will help you to adjust these effects. Or the second option is to hire an audio engineer, and they will tell you exactly in that one session. Sometimes they'll even just build an effects rack for you, so then it'll be done. You won't have to worry about finding this plugin or that plugin, or they'll tell you exactly what you need, and then once you have them, they'll set up an effects rack for you. And then you won't have to worry about it. And they could probably even create a few shortcuts for you, keyboard shortcuts for things. And then you don't have to worry about anything, right? You just hit a button, done. Right? But I get it. It's a lot. There's a lot to be aware of and learn about in the beginning, and you don't know, what you need, what you don't need. I remember watching YouTube videos in the beginning going, okay, well, this person's using this effect and this effect and this effect, not knowing that or realizing that my studio, my voice, my space, my equipment, my proximity, everything is going to be completely different from the person I'm watching. So the effects that they're using and the settings that they're using in those effects or for those effects are not going to directly apply to my situation. And all I'm doing is just completely destroying the sound of my audio. So watching people on YouTube talk about effects, that's great, you're learning, but just keep in mind that their settings and what they're doing may not directly apply to your situation. You might not even need the effects that they're talking about. So your best bet is to join groups and get personalized effects or comments or feedback for your particular situation, or hire an audio engineer to suss that all out for you and fix it up. But don't just willy-nilly just throw, everything in the kitchen sink at your audio, because you might be doing a whole lot more damage than good. Tangents are a-flowing today, people. Caesar says, hi, Kat. Well, you can start with either iZotope or positron. As you strive to improve workflow, you will find both to be quite essential, and I recommend you get into them ASAP. iZotope for sure. iZotope, iZotope.com. If you go into their products and you look at their RX, like suite of plugins, there's 3 different packages. There's, oh God, what is it? Is it basic, standard, and advanced? Elements, standard, and advanced. I had a brain fart for a second. The standard and advanced packages have the one plugin that I recommend to everyone, and that is the mouth declicker. Not so much the elements, of course, the entry-level package doesn't have it in it, but if you buy the elements package, you can always upgrade to standard or advanced. But that mouth declick plugin is gold. It reduces all that sticky mouth sound that takes forever to edit out. That particular plugin is available in the standard and advanced. So iZotope is what he's talking about, and highly recommend that one. Positron is a software that will help you with editing, more specifically proofing. If you're into audiobook narration or other types of long form narration, Positron will help to find words that you did not say correctly and show you exactly where you flubbed it, and so you can go back in and fix it right away quickly. So those are both great pieces of software to have, especially if you're looking into audiobook narration. Oh, I'm in a super chat. Hold on. I'm coming. Janelle. Thank you, Janelle. You're such a sweetheart. Thank you so much. Thank you for your tangents. Don't encourage the tangents. Don't encourage the tangents. Thank you so much, Janelle. Janelle, you are a sweetheart. You guys are the best. I appreciate you. The only problem with that is that I can't remember where I was. Oh, here we are. Thanks so much, Janelle. I appreciate you. Kat said, if you haven't already checked out the Platinum group I recommended, I just watched the team replay and missed most of the live on dual and duet performances. Thanks, Caesar, Rebecca, and Angela. Yes, Caesar gave a really great presentation on dual and duet narration, audiobook narration for our Platinum group last week, and it was really, really good. So if you're in my Platinum group, they're all recorded, so you can go back and watch it. It was really good. And Caesar and his Vanna, Rebecca, did a great job. Kat says, and tickle the like and subscribe buttons. Yes, please. Gently massage that like button. And if you're watching this in team replay, please consider subscribing, because it just helps to push my algo out into the face of other people that are looking for this information for free. Thank you. Do all the YouTubey things. Abe Froman, good morning from Nashville. Thank you to all in the Platinum group for the recent support. I'm currently drowning in work, but selected consistent work as my concern. So you're looking for it to be less consistent in your case? But drowning in work is a good problem to have, Abe. Embrace it, because there may be months where it's not so much. So, take it while you got it is my motto. But when there is a lull in work, don't despair and freak out. What I do in lulls, when there's a lull in work, is take that time to rest and recuperate And then also focus on, refreshing my demos, maybe improving my website. I still use that time to work on my business, maybe the back end of stuff, but still as important as getting the actual work done, right? You're still investing time. PSV Odyssey, Paul. Good morning, Paul. It is Taco and Donut Tuesday. Well, every day is a donut day in my world. Abe says, I want to go full time, but I have a worry that as soon as I do, the work will dry up. What I did, it took me about somewhere between 1.5 to 2 years to go full time. And when I started to do this, what I did was I opened my PayPal account, and I used that as sort of a business checking account because I didn't have my LLC formed yet. But I wanted to keep my personal income and my business income, or what I considered to be business. I had to understand that they were going to be two separate entities, right? There was me, and then there was my voiceover business, two separate entities. So I had to keep the money separate. And it also helps to track for tax time, right, in the beginning. So I started to keep all my voiceover money here. All my income and expenses would come out in and out of my PayPal account. And then once I built that up enough, then I became my LLC, and then I moved all that money to my business checking account. And then once I had enough in my business checking account to cover me for like a year or more, right? If something did happen, then that is when I, fired my boss basically and went full time. And at that same time, like the loudest get out of here and go for me was when I was losing voiceover business by being employed, by not being available for it, by being elsewhere for 10, 12 hours a day, right? I was losing voiceover business. I was having to turn down business because I was not available. So that is when I said, okay, I'm out. I had enough money to cover me, and I left. So whatever that point is for you, just to give you a little bit of a point of relativity, that's what I did. But just think, Abe, once you have more time to dedicate to marketing and reaching out to people, then that should start to draw in more business too. When you have more time as a full-time voice actor, you have more time to further solidify your foundation, more marketing time, right? You'll have more time to focus solely on the voiceover business. So that's a plus too. David is here. Hey, David. I'm doing well. Thank you, David. How are you? From Hamilton, Ontario. Ken is here. Hey, Ken. Morning all. Banging my head against WordPress. Time for an Angela break. I hear you. Take that break. Laugh at my tangents for a few minutes. Kat says to Abe, maybe slowly set aside 6 to 12 months of expenses, then go full time. That's essentially what I did. Gary says, why is Audible allowing some AI voices when historically they've never allowed any? That's a concern which could overwhelm audiobooks business for narrators in a very brief time. I think it's all about money. It's all about price point. It's all about price point. If you think about it from Audible's standpoint, they're trying to get more listenership. They're trying to make more money on books. So the easiest way for them to get more books on their platform is to offer a low cost or no cost option for their authors to put those books on their site. So it's all about money. It's all about money. But I think what is going to happen at some point is that, and from what I understand and see and hear myself, nobody likes these books. Anybody who enjoys audiobooks, I mean, there's going to be people that are just listening to them for the information, that's it. But for the people who really enjoy the storytelling, don't like these books. They don't like them. I don't know of any, well-to-do author who is going to hire an AI voice. Right? It's, if you think about it from like, it's the YouTube, like the cash cow YouTube channels that are only producing content to monetize and make money. They don't really care about what kind of content it is. They're just making something that makes them money. So an AI voice could be a low cost option for them because they don't, it's just there to make money. It's not like a passion project or something. It's the same thing. It's a low cost option that there's no passion in. It's the same thing. But I don't think, I wouldn't worry about it, is basically what I'm saying. I wouldn't worry about it. Tanya says, evening all. I brought cream-filled chocolate chocolate shoe. How do you pronounce that? Show? Pastries. I said, consistent work. I'm coming back from a few weeks sick and already worrying about the next book. Worrying about not sounding the same for the next book, or the fact that you don't have a next book? What do you mean, Tanya? But I'm glad you're feeling better. But Cup of Tea says, morning all. Hope you're well. Doing aight. All well so far. Natalie's narration says, good morning. Oh, yum, Tanya. That sounds amazing. My stomach's growling. I hope you guys can't hear it. And Fritz says, good day all. I chose consistent work. For the first time, I have a project in queue. I'd like more of that. Good for you. Good for you. Stacy Bertrand says, good morning. Good morning, Stacy. Good morning, Jean from Oregon. Gregory, Sir Gregory. Good day, sir. Good morning, all Angela Soyos. Oh, good Lord. I'm finally caught up with my regular work and can devote more time sending out auditions. My health has also made things challenging in this area, too. But you know what, Gregory? For those of us that know you, we all respect your drive. You've got more drive and, like, giddy up, regardless of your health situation. We all respect that. That is, we all applaud you for that. You've got, if half the people had your drive, my God. Pamela says, good day, all. Good day, Pamela. Caesar says, I'm more worried about AI taking over my microwave. You realize donuts are unhealthy, right? Yeah, moderation, Caesar. Don't be a Debbie Downer. My microwave would say, per doctor's orders, I strongly recommend warming up a bowl of broccoli. Oh, I see. Your microwave is talking to you, telling you that donuts are... No, just don't listen. Mute it, if that's the case. If microwaves ever get to that point, it's going into silent mode. Reading Time with Poppy says, I'm still in the phase where I've started trying to get work and have not yet been hired. My most present concern is being part of a large crowd doing the same thing. Being a part of a large crowd doing the same thing in terms of not getting work or not being hired. What you mean? Oops. Clicking wrong buttons here. Rochelle says, good morning to all. Good morning, Rochelle. Thanks for watching. Okay, Poppy says, after I feel like I can stand out, I think AI and consistency will be my worries. I think I'll have more control over one than the other, though. AI, again, what it comes down to help maybe assuage some of these AI concerns is focus on your craft. Focus on connecting to scripts, understanding scripts, understanding like point of view and emotion, and making sure that emotion is coming through. Focus on your audio quality and really your performance, right? Breaking down scripts, how to understand them, connecting with the characters. I think that is something that is really going to set us apart from AI. You know, emotional nuance, humor, you know, comedic timing. Those are the things that AI can't quite get down yet. Accents. I don't care how good AI is going to get. I don't think it's ever going to sound like it's completely connected. You know, all those nuances that we have as humans. I don't know. I just wouldn't worry about it. But basically, focusing on improving your craft and connecting to the script and all of the things that I just mentioned, I think should be everyone's focus right now in voice acting, audiobook narration, because that is what is going to ultimately set us apart from the fast and dirty. You know, high quality, real emotion is going to be a whole different caliber. And that's where you want to live. Be known for. Gregory says, also, I think I'm getting over my fear of rejection. Every business, from fast food to fast cars, established businesses send the word out and realize the law of averages. Everyone does marketing. That's right. Every business is marketing in some way, shape, or form. And if you're a voice actor, audiobook narrator, you have to think of yourself as a business owner, even if you're not even like technically a business yet. You have to think of what you've got as a business. It's an entity, and you have to feed it. And how do you feed it? By marketing it. By either reaching out to clients, that's marketing. Promoting yourself on social media or making social media content, that's marketing. Sending out auditions, that's marketing, right? Being visible, any which way you can make yourself visible, that's marketing. Don't think of marketing as you paying for ads. That's not all that marketing is. Marketing is any which way you're making yourself known or visible to other clients, businesses. And in our case, as voice actors, we're not just marketing to businesses. Really, anyone could be a client. You know, Joe Schmo next door needs a voicemail for his cell phone because he, you know, for whatever reason, that could be a client. I mean, we have so much possibility for business. If you just think about, you know, what your niche is and what you want to focus on as a voice actor or audiobook narrator, and target it. Target the people who need you and reach out to them. Do it. It's marketing. Poppy says, oh, and good morning. This is Alex, and I'm glad to be back with a live stream after missing a few. Yeah, you've been gone for a little bit. But glad you're back. Foster Care Nation says, I'm kind of lost on how to figure out how to reach out. Who, where, how. First, figure out what you want to do. I think at this point, most of us already know like which direction you want to go in voiceover, meaning, do you want to narrate or produce audiobooks? Do you want to focus on e-learning or like online course narration? Do you want to just do IVR or like phone greetings? Do you want to do character animation? Do you want, you know, what is it that you want to do? Video games? So once you have an idea of the direction that you want to go, then focus on the companies and or people who make the content that you're actively searching to voice over, and then reach out to them. It's as simple as a Google search. I'm not kidding you. So, for example, if you want to make e-learning content for online courses, and there are tons of them out there to be made. If you think about every new job that you've started, you had to watch some sort of new hire orientation packet of videos that you had to watch and, you know, take tests on or agree to or whatever. There was a voice actor that had to voice those over, right? So then if that's what you want to do, then you search in the Google bar, you know, video production companies. And then you could even narrow it down from there. But that's where I would start, is like a general broad stroke term that will lead you to these companies. And then you can start to narrow it down based on the verbiage that they're using. So if they're using, you know, LMS or e-learning, or, you know, once you start to see the words that these companies are using on their websites, and it aligns with what it is that you want to do, then start using that terminology. I want to see video production companies that focus on LMS, or LMS production companies, e-learning content companies, stuff like that. Just start using different keywords. And then look at these websites that come up. What kind of content do they create? Is there any indication if they have an in-house talent team, or do they hire freelancers? Sometimes they will tell you that they have a talented, in-house group of people. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes there will be a contact form. Are you a voiceover talent? Yes, I am. Thanks for asking. I'm going to fill out your contact form. And then, whatever the situation is. And then sometimes if they don't give you any information, then there's sometimes a page that's a, meet the staff or about us or something like that. And you can see a list of different people on there. And then you're looking for the casting director or the production manager or something like that, and send them an email. I really like the content that you guys are creating, and I'm a voice actor who specializes in this kind of content. Do you have an in-house team of voice actors, or do you hire freelancers? If you hire freelancers, then I would like to submit my demo to you to be considered as part of your pool of talent. It's not as difficult as we make it to be. Right? It's a lot easier than you think. And you can, keep track of these people that you contact in a Google spreadsheet or something, and then, kind of keep track of if they replied, and, that way you don't double email them and then they just go, oh, okay, that's spam. I would have a CRM of some sort, or keep track of who you're contacting and what your responses are of some sort. But it's a little bit of work. And that could pay off. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but at some point in the future it might. Every little seed that you plant today could potentially be a fruitful harvest at some point in the future for you. That's how you got to look at it. It's not lost time. It's not wasted time. It's not, you can't look at it that way. You have to look at it as seeds that you're planting that at some point in the future will be a fruitful harvest, but you have to nurture it. You have to plant the seed. Tangent. Katya says, hello, supplying plenty of cream-filled chocolate donuts for, oh, my stomach is growling. Gary said, how about this concern? Finding indie authors who will also work hard at marketing their audiobooks. I limit audiobook narration of royalty share projects to 1 to 3 hours because most won't sell. Same. I won't take royalty share projects that are over 3 hours either, just because there is no guarantee. But you want to do your due diligence on the author to start, if you can. So if you're on ACX and you can do a little research about the author, and see, how many books they've produced, how many they've got listed, if they have any that are already produced. Sorry, I'm turning on my air conditioner because it's hot. And then you can also see what kind of ratings the books are getting, or the book that is soliciting auditions. You can see what kind of a sales rank they have. The smaller the number, the better. What kind of ratings that they've got. Is this book going to sell well? What's the topic? Is it a romantasy? Is it something that's evergreen? The information is evergreen. Is it something that's not super niche, or does it have like a broad appeal? Is it something that I think is going to sell well, right? Is what you're looking for royalty share. But in terms of finding these people, it could be as easy as just jumping onto Amazon and starting to look at books. You can narrow the search down by, new releases. You could look at if there's a specific genre or topic that you enjoy, then you could just Google that, or not Google, but search for that topic and books in Amazon and start to go through the books. Because you can see right away if a book has a print version, a Kindle version, a audiobook version, all right there on that one page on Amazon. And if they don't have an audiobook version, then you can click on the book, go to the author page. There's usually an about the author and a contact the author, or visit their website or something, or at least you have their name. You can Google them. Most authors have a website. You can reach out to them directly. Hey, I see that you just released this book. It's so interesting. I'm so like, I'm connected to it. If I have some point of relativity to it or something, there's some kind of connection with this book. And I see that you don't have an audiobook version. I would love to do this for you. I would love to produce this audiobook if you don't already have one in production. I mean, don't overthink it. Use the resources and tools that we have at our fingertips now that make this process so much easier today than it was even 5 years ago. When we have all of this information at our fingertips, utilize it. The majority of it is free, right? So the only thing standing in your way is just the doing. There really isn't any easy button, Unfortunately, there isn't like a, hey, Siri, find me 50 jobs. You got to do a little bit of work, but I'm telling you, it'll pay off if you take the time and do it. And then social media, making the connections, networking on social media. And then sooner or later, the interwebs and algorithms will start to connect you with other people that are looking for you. So any which way you go about it, or all of them, could potentially pay off. But you have to get started. You got to stop going, maybe you're in the procrastinating stage and you're just afraid to pull the trigger because you need to learn more of X, Y, and Z. Baloney. Get started. Just do it. Learn to build that plane while you're flying. You'll learn so much more by doing than by watching videos about it. I promise you. Gregory says, it should be in our heads that, so what if others might have possibly reached out to a production company? They ain't heard us, right? And we just might be the least annoying voice option. That's true. There could be companies that have, maybe 10 or 20 voice actors reach out to them in a day. But if your voice is different, if you sound just the way that they're looking for, you could be the voice that they are looking for. You never know. Don't assume. Don't count yourself out. Right? Right. The least annoying voice option. Kantia says to Caesar, my crackling from last week is gone. Good. A million thanks for your suggestion of raising my buffer size. Good. I'm glad that you figured it out. Alexandra says, I agree. If there is an author using AI, then you probably wouldn't even want to work for them. Caesar says to Katya, oh, hey, I'm glad that it worked. Happy to have helped. Kat says, I agree with finding out that this is a lot more than I expected, but I'm looking at it as a challenge that I'm really enjoying. I'm making slow progress, but I like my progress. And just keep in mind that progress is progress. Even if you can only spend 10 minutes a day on something, that's still progress. And even if you're at the point where you're like, you made 3 steps forward but took 2 steps back, that's still progress. And the rate in which you were making that progress is still progress. That's still a positive. So don't give yourself a hard time. Give yourself some grace, right? If you can only spend 10, 30 minutes on something every day, that's still progress. You're still working on it, and you shouldn't fault yourself for that. I didn't start this business full time. I was employed for almost 2 years of it and doing this part-time on the side. It wasn't until almost 2 years where I was able to do this full time. It takes time, and however much time it takes for you is the right amount of time. Progress is still progress. Tangent. Coming in hot today. Foster Care Nation says, so far I have done 7 or 8 royalty share gigs on ACX. No real sales, though. I have an annual income for 2025 of $1.86. Okay, but that's still $1.86 more than you had without them. I see your point, though. I'm trying to make light of it. So stop doing royalty share, then. Or choose different royalty share books. Or maybe even consider royalty share plus. Right? You don't have to do royalty share books if you don't want to. Shauna says, I am concerned that I don't have music with my demos. I did a professional demo shortly after VO training, but need to update. Do you have a suggestion on how to add background music? Now, let's step back for a second, and adding music is going to depend on what kind of voiceover or what kind of company that you're sending this demo to. Depending on the type of voiceover, let's just say if it's for audiobook narration, don't add music. Don't add the stuff. Don't add sound effects and all of the stuff. And also for some casting directors, I have heard that when a voice actor adds music, and these casting directors or audio engineers have a very attuned ear. They can tell when you're adding music or sound effects to cover up bad audio. I just wanted to throw that out there too. So that is something that they're looking at. If you're adding music, sound effects to your demos, they can tell if you're trying to cover up bad audio. But in some cases, like audiobook, I feel like I'm all over the place because my brain is going like, hey, what about this point? Hey, what about this point? So I apologize if I'm all over the place. But for audiobook narration, your narration is really what they're listening for. They don't really care about the music and stuff anyway. So they really want to hear what you sound like, what your words or what your voice sounds like, what your audio quality sounds like. All this to say, I feel like I'm doing this a really roundabout way, but if you really wanted to, I would have two versions of your demo. I would have a completely dry, meaning no music, sound effects, nothing. And then you could have another version with adding music to it. But who you send which one to is going to depend on what you're applying for, or what kind of voiceover project company you're sending your demo to. It might not be appropriate to have music and things in your demo. And I know you guys are going to ask for a little more specificity. I would think for commercial, maybe adding music and sound effects, but for anything else, maybe even some types of animation, perhaps. If it's accompanying a video, perhaps. I think it's going to depend. But for me, I've always had two different versions of the same demo, one with and one without. Shauna says, I use Adobe Audition. I want to show a polished demo to have on my website for marketing. Okay. If you're asking, I have at least one video here on my channel where I think it's a meditation video, but everything is still the same in terms of adding music, where you use multi-track and you can add music that way, or sound effects or whatever you're adding if you use Adobe Audition. If you search my playlists for, just use the word meditation or music, one of the two, and it'll show you that video. But I'm sure there's a few others here on YouTube where you can search and find how to add music using multi-track with Adobe Audition. Don't do it now. Wait until after we're done here and then go. Don't go yet. But multi-track it can be overwhelming in the beginning. But it does get easier, I promise you. If I can figure it out, you'll be just fine. Ramos says you rock. No, you rock. Ramos Radio Live. You rock. Rustic Hillbilly is here. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining. Caesar says to Shauna, you can look up Adobe Audition multi-track on YouTube. Jinx. It'll be fairly easy to blend music with a spoken word performance in Adobe Audition. Caesar's always eloquent with the words. He's always the eloquent speaker. Gregory says, don't forget, folks, 50 viewers equals 50 thumbs up. Let's feed Algo. Feed the beast, y'all. Do all the YouTube-y things. I appreciate you. Katya says, mouth declicker is everything. Yes. If there is one plugin that is worth its weight in gold, that is the mouth declicker from RX, from Isotope. And I keep emphasizing mouth because there is 2 different declickers available in Isotope's suite of plugins. One is just a declicker, and one is a mouth declicker. And that one focuses more on the organic, the sticky sounds that we're always trying to spend all our time editing out manually. That one plugin is worth its weight, because once you have it for everything. You have it for as long as you want it. So all of your auditions, all of your files, all of your audiobook files, everything you can apply this to from that one purchase. So it's not like a subscription where you have to keep paying for it or something. I'm telling you, well worth the investment. Eric says, hi, Angelinos. Eric, where you been? Been away for a couple, and now I'm back. Bad cop Eric. And then Eric Grams. Hey, Eric Grams. Hi, Amazing Angela and the A team. I will never give up, never surrender, but I am getting frustrated. I still haven't gotten a job this year. I have 3 authors who say they want to work with me, but for different reasons, still no offers. But instead of looking at it as no work, look at it as your marketing is working. Because you have 3 authors out of however many auditions that have heard you, that like you, and that are negotiating with you, or at least on some sort of like negotiating terms, right? They're willing to work with you at some point. That means what you're doing is working. So whatever you did to get to that point, double down on it. Start branching out. If this was all on ACX, that means great, your auditions are working. And Eric, you have a fantastic voice and performance. Your audio quality is great. There's no reason why you shouldn't be getting more work. So that tells me that you need to audition more. You need to get more visible. You need to be more visible. So that means get on it, Eric. Get on it. Finding work for you will not be difficult if you're seen by the right eyeballs. So you need to get in front of them, which means more. Jennifer says, the family feel that the group has is amazing. Highly recommend the Platinum group. Yes, we're like, what is that cartoon where you have the Island of Misfits? I'm kidding. We do have a family feel. I mean, everybody is, it's like a come as you are, but everybody is very supportive. We don't have any, we don't have any like big heads. We don't have any naysayers. We don't have any like big attitudes or opinions. You know, everybody's really supportive and helpful to each other because we all have a common goal. And I mean, it's a great group of like-minded people in all different experience levels and, stages in this journey. So, I mean, don't be afraid of joining groups like that because it will help you in so many ways. And not only with the business side, but, mentally, you'll have other people that understand where you're coming from, what you're talking about, and to celebrate those achievements with you because they understand how big it is, right? They understand, they get it. I mean, the community is everything. Oh, sorry, Eric, I skipped over you. Last week's Platinum group was amazing. Well, they all are, but Caesar, Rebecca, and all knocked it out of the park. Yes, they did. Caesar and Rebecca did a fantastic job. Never too late to lift. I love that username. Speaking of which, I went a little too hard in the gym last night. Feeling it. Hey there, just joined and finally getting a VO career started at 57. Good for you. Already learning a lot from you. Thank you. Well, thank you for watching. And you're right. It's never too late to start. Because voiceovers, say it with me, voice actors represent the world. And the world has all different types of voices. So good for you. Hatbox says, good morning. Just started working on a monotone sleep-focused podcast. Oh, that's cool. I hope to eventually use it as a portfolio for other voice work. Thanks for all your tip videos. Absolutely. And if you don't mind, drop the name of your podcast and we'll all go check it out and support you. That's what we do here. We lift each other up and support each other. Tanya says, worrying about getting the next gig since my momentum was interrupted and sounding good for auditions. To Abe's point, I saved so that I could leave work and focus on learning the business of VO. I was too frazzled from work to learn the craft and tech while still doing the other job. I don't blame you. It's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, voiceover in and of itself is super overwhelming. There's so much information coming at you, and there's so much you need to do and learn and figure out. Which DAW, which microphone, what effects do I need? I don't know. What the hell is a dB? I have no idea. What is an RMS? What are these people talking about? Everything is foreign. There's just so much information coming at you. And then you also have to focus on the work stuff. It's a lot. And that's why I say, take the time that you need to take. The progress of getting to where you want to get to, that place called there, that place where you've made it, right? Whatever that means for you. Whatever time it takes to get to that point is the time it's going to take to get to that point. It may take a year. It may take a month. It may take 5 years. Whatever it does, whatever it is what it was meant to be. Unless, you're like me and you're an Aries and you're impatient with everything. Everything is too slow. Alex says, being part of a large crowd, as in, I see a lot of other people also trying to break into VO. It feels similar to business ideas that work well for a few, then everybody starts doing it. Bit scary. But you're right. But if you think about it from the perspective of a voice actor, looking at other voice actor stuff, there's how many people in the world? All of them are not voice actors. Relationally, there's a small percentage of people that are doing voiceover. So because you're in these groups and you're curating your algorithm on social media to look for voiceover and audiobook narration stuff, it seems like everybody or a very large group. But in reality, it's a very small percentage of people. So it seems like a lot, because that's all that you're seeing. But all I'm trying to say is don't worry about what other people are doing. If there's something that's working for someone, try it. It might work for you too. It might not. There might be some other, thing that you do or direction, path, strategy, whatever that is, that works better for you. And if you want to share it with people, then share it. Or want to keep it a secret and to yourself, keep that secret sauce all to yourself, you could do that too. But it seems like a lot, but in reality, it's not. Because that's all you're seeing. Kantia says, I'm not paying attention to the AI thing. Good. I believe that humans will always inherently connect with humans in the end. Just concentrate on your unique talent and keep moving forward and have fun. Katya, I think everybody should take a screenshot of that comment and post it on your monitors. Because she's got it perfectly stated, Katya. My coffee is empty. Tragedy. Voiceover Van Deen. Good afternoon, sir. Haven't seen you in a while. Afternoon all from sunny but windy England. Sitting here with my cup of tea and my Ringtons apple pie cookie. Apple pie cookie? That sounds amazing. Hope all are well. I want an apple pie cookie. Alexandra says, one thing that I worry about as a younger female in the industry of narration is that I don't like narrating smuts or a lot of cursing. And that's fine. You don't have to. You don't have to. That's your prerogative as the business owner. Right? You don't have to. There's plenty of work out there for your voice type that doesn't include smut or cursing. The majority of what I do as an older female, I'm just going to say older, doesn't involve smut or cursing at all. So if you choose to not, you don't have to. Right? You'll see. You'll see. Everything will be fine. Rebecca says to Kat and Eric, thank you. Thursday's class was a lot of fun, and I'm so happy everyone enjoyed it. Hint, hint, the Platinum group is so worth it. You guys are amazing. Alexandra then says, it seems like most well-paying authors that reach out to me have content that are explicit. So I'm worried about the job being sustainable for me. Not everything is explicit, but I think depending on your definition of explicit, if you're narrating audiobooks, you're going to have character dialogue. You're going to have scenes. If you're talking about like straight spice or straight smut, that's one thing. But if there's going to be a little bit of dialogue that's cursing, you know, you might be limiting yourself in, in terms of what is available to you, unless you go into some of the maybe like the religious stuff where there's like zero, absolutely none. I mean, it all depends on what your definition of smut or explicit is. I've found that there's a lot of different definitions of explicit. So, on that note, if you're on ACX, for example, this is another reason why I say to not use as many filters as are available when you're searching for a specific kind of book. Use the filters very sparingly. I mean, limit it to maybe your gender. Maybe not even that. Limit it to the language you speak. And then just see what comes up. Because what some people consider to be explicit isn't to other people and vice versa. So, I mean, you might have to do a little bit more work to suss out what is, if the content is acceptable to you or not, or is it comfortable for you or not. But the end result may be more work. Did any of that make sense? I feel like I'm just rambling. It's the lack of coffee. I'm telling you, if I could mainline coffee, I would do it. Tanya says to Alexandra, you can make it clear in your bio on most sites that you don't supply that kind of content. ACX will also let you say no to erotica, although it's not foolproof. Exactly. Especially recently, we've seen quite a few books in my Platinum group when we go through ACX for auditions that it's straight erotica, but it's in the romance category. So you do have to do a little due diligence. Ren says, sorry I'm late. I'm at the vet. Brought donuts. I think Nibbler scratched. Oh, no. I hope he's okay. But thank you for the donuts. Well, hello there, Mr. Pika. Anthony. Hello. You guys all know Mr. Pika. Caesar's here saying hello to Mr. Anthony. Good to see you too. Come to Academy Voices. If you want to check out Anthony's Academy Voices, the VO's Journey Academy, there's a link down below. Check it out in the description. Lamar says, make sure to pay the IRS their share of that $1.58. Andrew says, submitting a demo really means providing a link, right? I mean, however you want to serve it up. I think it's also going to depend on how you're approaching the client too. Because some of the settings in Google will consider your email to be spam if there's links in it. So you could either upload. Actually, that would be a great conversation, I think, for an upcoming live, is the best way to send demos. Right? Like QR code to a link to your website, like to a, I don't want to say a SoundCloud, but like a, you know what I mean? What would be the best way to get your demos across? But I think it's really going to depend on how and where you're sending it. Katya says, Angela, never apologize for your tangents. They're tremendously golden. Great. So me rambling, don't encourage the tangents. Shauna says, when referring to background music in the demo, I actually meant on Fiverr and Upworks, where I noticed all demos viewed had the music. Not all of them. Mine don't. Mine don't. Not unless they're a part of a piece of a finished project that a customer has sent me, and I've used that just so the client can see that I've got finished work. But my solo demos don't have, unless it's a meditation. I think those are the only ones that have music accompanying them, but not all of them. Hello, Alicia. Gary says, while I do complain about indie authors, RS books, and no sales, our first job is to have published work on Audible. It's the bling which proves your worth, especially when you're only an intern. Yeah, but I wouldn't want you to focus so much on like how many credits you have. I mean, focus on doing the work, and it's doing something that you love, right? Even if it's an audiobook that's going straight to YouTube. I mean, don't think of it in terms of like the social media aspect where I have to have so many followers to prove that I'm likable. You know, I mean, I understand what you're saying in terms of authors want to see that you've got completed credits or titles on Audible. I get that too. But don't fall victim to that mindset. Just follow the joy of what you do. Focus more on the fun, the love of what you're doing and why you're doing it. Right? I think it's more important. Life Unleashed says, hi all, Colleen from Cape Cod. Happy I made it live. What would I dearth to get into medical narration or e-learning? You can get into anything that you want to get into. If we're talking about direct clients, I would start with like a simple Google search of video production for like online courses, e-learning, LMS. Start to familiarize yourself with the terminology used by those companies and use those in your Google search. I mean, it all starts with just a simple Google search. And then you can make notes, again, of terminology used and then use those in the searches and then find those companies that come up and then just kind of deep dive into the site. Take 20, 30 minutes of a day and just do that. And then you'll familiarize yourself with all of the terminology, how those websites are set up, and then you could even have at the end of it a few names or contacts to email. You know? Just get started. Just do it. Hatbox says, thanks for the encouragement. Unfortunately, it's not out there yet. I'm still trying to get used to my own voice and talking to myself without feeling dumb. We've all been there. We've all been there. I think even 8 years into this, I still cringe when I hear my voice. I don't think it ever goes away for some people, apparently. Never goes away. It's always very cringy. But you can get used to it for the most part. I mean, because you're going to be listening to yourself while you're editing all day, every day. So it does get a little bit less cringy, I guess is a better way of saying it. But I don't know if it ever really truly goes away. Never Too Late to Lift says, oh, you just reminded me. Isn't caffeine bad for VO? What are good drinks for sprays that would help? Oh, gosh. I wouldn't say caffeine is bad for VO, but it's usually the drink itself. If you put any sweeteners in it, like dairy, right? Dairy produces the mouth noise. And of course, everybody's body is going to be different. There's going to be some people that tell you to not eat or drink this, but to eat or drink this. Ultimately, everybody's going to be a little bit different when it comes to how your body reacts to things. What produces phlegm or mouth noise or all of the grody things that we're trying to avoid. Some people will say to eat green apples. My God, I just had like a total brain fart. Ultimately, for me, it's like to cut back on the dairy when I need to record and drink lots of water. I think just having a lot of water in your studio will benefit you because you might just need to take a swig, here or there. When you eat is also going to be a factor because you don't want to be recording before you eat because your stomach's going to be growling. And then you don't want to have to narrate maybe an hour after you eat, because then your stomach's going to be making digestion noises or burps or stuff like that. So everybody's going to be a little bit different, but ultimately having water in your studio is going to benefit you more than anything. Some people brush their teeth immediately preceding a narration session. Everybody's going to have a little bit of a different idea of what works and what doesn't. I know what Caesar's going to say. Biotine. Was it Biotine that had the gels and the sprays and the... Am I thinking of the right thing? Amanda says, do we really need to have an actual demo professionally worked on? I'm so confused. I'm in a coaching class and my teacher says we don't want to be ready for a while. Amanda, I have never in 8 years had paid someone to create a professional demo for me. Never. All of my demos are DIY. I have personally made every single demo I have ever presented to a client. It's going to depend on what you're doing in VoiceOver. And I think we've talked about this a couple times in previous live streams, but if you're looking for something, if you're looking to get into, let's just say, maybe video game narration, character work like for animation, or specifically commercial or something, hiring someone to help you professionally produce a demo will help you with, because they will know what the casting directors are looking for, what is going to be appealing to casting directors. So in that respect, a professional demo, you should consider paying someone to help you with a demo in that respect. But for what I do, I don't really need one. I just need a presentation of what I sound like, what my room sounds like, what my style sounds like, right? So if you're getting to something specific like that, then I would consider hiring someone to help you with a demo. But in my case, never once. They've all been DIY. So don't get too hung up on that either, unless you're looking for something like video games or commercial work or something specific. Oh my God, I can't type. What would I search for? I think I know what you meant. Caesar says to Alexandra, I can't stand smut or cursing either. I'm a paragon of chastity and virtue. Lies. Alexandra says, I am totally okay with some cursing. It's just so far I've had authors reach out to me that all they write is like very spicy. And that just comes with being a female in this industry, to be honest, Alexandra. I mean, even as an older female, I still get those all the time. But the beautiful thing is that this is your business. It's your prerogative to take it or not. But just know that there's so much more out there, and you don't have to do the smut. Know that there's a lot of money in it if you choose to go to the dark side, and you can use a pseudonym if you so chose. Food for thought, planting the seeds. But you don't have to. You don't have to. Dylan says the Platinum Group is indeed like a family, and Caesar is that creepy uncle. He's not really. He's, oh my God. Caesar says to Alexandra, likely for two reasons. The author thinks that you're the voice for it, and well, spicy books sell. But as mild spice man myself, we reserve the right to politely decline. Anne says, you are experiencing melon coffee. The sadness you feel when your coffee cup is now empty. That's my next t-shirt design. Melon coffee. Yes. You hit it on the nose. Caesar says, ooh, yes, I see caffeine has tannins, milk has dairy, and these can make your mouth sticky and dry. Not bad per se, but you can become clicky. Biotine spray or gel works very fast. Keep one handy. I knew he was going to come in with the biotine. His cat says, I'm feeling melon coffee too. Shauna says, completed a nonfiction book for an author in early June. I was paid for the work, but find that the author has not done anything with it per ACX status page. Has that happened to anyone else? Yes, I've had that happen. Let's see. But you were paid for it, so what he does with it at this point, you know, but I understand that you want the completed work posted. It could be that because it's summertime, right? Kids are just now starting to go back to school. Maybe they'll pick up and do something with it. If you wanted to, you could reach out to the author if you haven't already. You can even attempt to get ACX involved, but at this point, it's their baby. They ultimately can do whatever they want with it. You've been, like the contract with you has been fulfilled. You've been paid. It's been finished. But yes, that has happened to me before. Sometimes clients just take a vacation. They take some time off, or maybe something has happened that they had to step away and focus on something else for the time being. Maybe they haven't quite decided what to do with it yet. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Dylan says, by the way, Angela, I took your advice and raised my rates to try to reduce the workflow. Now I'm getting paid more and now I'm getting paid more to not have any time. That's awesome. So work is still increasing, but you're getting paid more to do it. That's awesome. So if that's the case, if you're still super busy, almost too busy, and you might consider increasing them more. You might consider increasing them again, or being a little bit more selective about the clients that you take. You might have to increase them again, Dylan. Just saying. All right, y'all. That's it for me today. Thank you again for joining everybody here, and myself, of course, on this live stream. You guys are awesome, as always. I will be back next Tuesday, same bat time, same bat channel. If you guys have anything that you want to talk about, if there are concerns, questions, if you want, multiple inputs or perspectives on a specific topic, or, just put it in the chat. And maybe it could be, a future live chat here on my channel. Again, this live chat is for you. So you tell me what you want to talk about, and we'll talk about it. But, oh, I just saw one last comment that I want to address. Amanda says, how do we know if we are ready? I would say just throw some stuff out there. As Caesar says, jump in anyway. Because if you're waiting for someone's permission or go ahead or blessing or green light, however you want to phrase it, you might not ever be there. Because everybody's got different opinions. Everyone's got different... You got to jump in. You got to jump in. I think the best learning you can do is hands-on. That is the best way to learn anything, is by doing. You will learn so much more. And yes, you may fall on your face. But you know what? That was a lesson that needed to be learned. And you'll be better for it, for having learned it. So in this game, there is no failure. There is just learning, right? When you fall on your face. It's a lesson learned. And you, again, will be stronger for it going forward. So I say, yes, as everything that Caesar and Rebecca are saying, course correct as you navigate. As we say here, ready, fire, aim, right? If you're ready enough that you have your audio quality is good, your performance is decent, right? You take the time to understand the script 3 W's, right? The who are you as a narrator, who you're talking to, and why are you talking to them? If you can understand those basic things and your audio quality is good enough, jump out there. And also keep learning from your coaches, absolutely. But you will learn a whole lot more faster by getting your hands dirty, getting involved, actively participating and learning by doing also, in addition to learning from your coaches. Or listen to Tanya. We will push you out the door. We will kick you out of the nest, but then invite you back for tea and to tell us all about it. Yep. All right, y'all. So I got to go. I got work to do myself. Again, thank you for joining us today, and I will see you all again next week. Bye. Thank you.